Okay guys, I know we're really excited, I am too. Soccer Ashes, we've finally got them, but can we please keep the celebrations in check until after the Mali game? I know it's a week away, but it'd be kind of crappy if we didn't beat them off the back of being Australia, who are higher ranked, okay? Now, let me just check the flight details, because we're going to make our way over there early. And, okay, so, actually, we've got a connecting flight from Sydney. And I'm pretty sure the Australian players will be on that one. So guys, actually, really enjoy that first flight. Just give it to the Australian players on the plane. You just tell them, suck it. Do the old boom, suck it. Do all that. Rub it in their faces. Get hammered. Then we'll sleep it off on the way to Mali. As long as you beat them. But I have faith in you guys, okay? Let's have a really enjoyable flight. And oh, it's gonna be so good. You can stick it to the Aussie players. Come on, lads. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 75 of the New Zealand Builder Nation here on Shaun Does FM with both the All Whites and with Cashmere Technical. And yet again today we're going to have a game with both of those teams first up. Not Burwood, because that is a fitness friendly. We take on Mali away from home with the All Whites looking to back up our win in the Soccer Ashes. And off the back of that, and playing against Western Suburbs in a rematch from the Chatham Cup final, we'll take on Auckland City in what hopefully should still be a top of the National League Championship clash. If you're looking forward to that coming up in today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also consider hitting that subscribe button and turning that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But yesterday we took on Wellington Olympic in one of our first few games of Cashmere Tech in the championship phase of the National League, and also, as I said, to play for the Soccer Ashes against Australia. So if you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. As you could probably tell from the intro, we did pick up a win in that game, so currently do hold the Soccer Ashes. Hopefully that trip over via Sydney to Mali, because as I said, I think some of the boys might have ripped into some of their Australian counterparts while they were back on their way to the other side of the ditch, the losing side of the ditch in this situation. Hopefully the boys aren't too hungover and we can back it up with a win over Mali. This one is away from home, lower youth rating, and just below us on the world rankings these days. Hopefully this is a team that we can beat, albeit they actually come to this one in some pretty good form in the African Nations qualifiers and whatnot. So a team in pretty good form, but hopefully off the back of that win over Australia, this is another one where we can pick up a W, especially because our squad is in the exact same situation it was going into yesterday's episode. Absolutely no changes, because the same players are recommended for 45 minutes. I think that might have been through celebrations, because we're here a week between games. This is quite a substantial international window we find ourselves in. We could have played 4 friendlies if we wanted to, but I thought a week between friendlies might be the smarter idea, and thankfully for once an African team actually going to go through and play us, unlike in past windows where usually this second friendly has been cancelled. So it's going to be the exact same starting 11 from that win over Australia, and hopefully if we need it, some of these big guns can come off the bench and provide some good impact. I have checked out a bus trip just in case, because this one is away from home. We haven't actually had a bus trip for a while here. No good with Google Maps and whatnot, and to be fair, even the photos of the stadium aren't too good. So we're going to skip the bus trip today, because it won't be a very good one over in Mali. Also, before we get stuck into this quick Cashmere Technical update, we have signed someone who's just down the pecking order in terms of centre backs for the All Whites, but Isaac Hughes, formerly of the Wellington Phoenix, was available on a free, so we did pick him up. Always good to have a quality option who is a local player in any position. So Isaac Hughes is at Cashmere Technical. I think that's the only thing, though, we need to catch you guys up on in terms of transfers off the back of yesterday's episode, but we'll switch back to Cashmere Technical mode before we play our second game in today's episode. But hopefully a chance for us here to move our way up the world rankings just a little bit more. As I said, these days up to 35th in the world, so just above Mali. So hopefully we can beat them and move up those rankings a little bit more. And here are the team sheets for this clash against Mali. First up are the home team here, going with a 4-3-3, a bit of a diamond there in midfield with 2 up front. As I said, they come to this one in some good form at the Stud Do 26 Mars, which I've checked, means it was built on the 26th of March. That's some of the research I did in preparation for the bus trip, but unfortunately wouldn't have been a good one. As I said, we're exactly the same as we were for yesterday's game, so it does mean Sono at right back, Stamanic as the DLP, and Aldenstone Rodriguez on the wings. Hopefully we can pick up back-to-back wins in this window. And it hasn't taken too long for the first highlight in this game, just 8 minutes in. We do have a throw in here on our right-hand side. Sono finds Ben Old now. Marco Stamanic with a shot, takes a big deflection, and the Hutt Valley hero in Jamie Kelly will put that one away. I think it's a bit fortunate there that Marco Stamanic does pick up the assist, but good start for us here. Hopefully going to back up that win over Australia. And the boys not still too hungover from those plane rides that we did have, but that is a good start. Jamie Kelly, I think the goalkeeper there got a decent touch on that, but thankfully still finds its way into the back of net. As I said, a little bit fortunate with that first block shot there from Marco Stamanic, but thankfully he still picks up the assist. And we take an early 1-0 now. Sloppy at the back there. George McDonald, can he pick up an EI goal? Of course he can. Chips that one over the goalkeeper a little bit. It's a poor mistake there from Kane at the back. Maybe there Kane also doesn't like winning trophies, albeit it's actually Niakate. Apologies to Kane, not too sure why his name popped up, because it might have taken a bit of a deflection off him, but a brilliant start for us here. Goals to Jamie Kelly and George McDonald give us a 2-0 lead. And we've waited until just shy of the half-hour mark for the next highlight in this game, and it was the Mali on the counter-attack, and there Louis Evans on a yellow card with a good tackle, but already I'm thinking might be a good idea to bring him off, especially if we can score there. Sloan Rodriguez, I thought was trying to square that for one of our attackers, who I thought got taken down there, and it might have been a penalty. Unfortunately, that's not the case, but a deflection does mean we have a corner. Sono on the ball will take on a shot, but unfortunately deflected onto the woodwork. So we go close there to picking up a third goal. And off the back of that, I'm feeling like we're pretty confident in this game. Playing quite well. 2-0 up, so we're going to play things safe here. Take off Louis Evans for Joe Bell, who hopefully won't pick up a yellow card straight away, but an early sub as we are 2-0 in front. In fact, right off the back of that, there is a highlight. Let's see if it amounts to anything or if it's just a waste of time, as can sometimes be the case. And FM Victor Sono makes his way down the right-hand side. It helps set up that first goal. A header from George McDonald. Unfortunately, though, that one comes off the woodwork early stages all over Mali, and 2-0 in front. And just about to make our way here into 2 minutes of added time, but that was a really good first half for us here with the All Whites. Mali have got up to very little in this game, just one shot late, which was not on target. 2 early goals there through Jamie Kelly and George McDonald off the back of a defensive mistake from Niakate do mean we go into the Sheds with a 2-0 lead. To be fair, actually could have made it 3-0 later in the half. A couple of shots which have come off the woodwork as well. But very happy with how we are playing. But Sloan Rodriguez going a bit fairly compared to some other players out there. Josh Pickering can play for 45 minutes and is one of our better players these days here. With the All Whites, one change at halftime, that means still got 4 left in the second half. We'll tell the guys very happy with how that's going and get back underway with that 2-0 lead. In fact, before I can wrap things up fully, we have a throw in here inside the final third. Victor Sono just takes his time there before playing that one back to Joe Bell, the old guard there with Marco Stamanic, although he loses the ball and a chance here for Mali to do something on the counter-attack. Tia tries to make his way down that left-hand side. Hopefully a chance for us here to break things up. Off the back of some good work there from whoever that was I'm trying to click on, but for some reason, mouse won't work right now. But Kane plays that one forward back to Tia. Back on the ball. Poor pass from him, though. Jamie Kelly with the intercept. George McDonald back to Jamie Kelly. Ben Old and a ton of space. The shot takes a big deflection, but Ben Old will pick up a goal. The former golfing prodigy will make it 3-0, and that should put this game to bed nice and early in the second half. An interception there from Jamie Kelly. Good ball over the top there from him too. After getting it back from George McDonald, the shot. Bit fortunate with the deflection, but finds its way into the back of net. 3-0 up early in the second half. And just showed the arm out, we get the next highlight in this game, and for the first time might be something in favour here of the home team in Mali. A corner. They look there for 2-8 at the near post. We try and clear it, don't do a very good job, and they knock it about here on the edge of the box, and Dangwine Traore will put that one away. Alex Paulson kind of getting beaten there at his near post, and also from a fair way out, which is a bit disappointing, but hopefully that's just a consolation goal. Not going to bottle this one with only 30 minutes left, still 2 goals in front, but Mali, they pull one back. And only a few minutes off the back of that goal back to Mali to make it 3-1, we try and make our way here out from there. Good touch there from George McDonald to play that to Jamie Kelly, who will take on the shot looking for a double, trying to put that one top right corner, but decent save there from the Mali goalkeeper. So we're trying to rebuild here our 3-goal lead and really put this game to bed. Now Tyler Bindon will hit the woodwork. It's a couple of times now that the planks have come to save Mali in this game, but still 3-1, but certainly on the front foot. Only the one shot on target, but unfortunately, as per usual, was a goal to the opposition. We're going to take off the Stamnich, dropping down to Red Hart for Michael Beale. With 25 minutes left, still 3-1 in front. And in fact, only a minute on from that previous sub now, Ben Olds dropped down to Red Hart, got his goal. Justin Keat will come on for him. And continuing to get to the point of this game now where players are dropping down to Red Hearts. These days it's Victor Sono. So Martin Darman, the Winton Warrior, will come on for him. Still 3-1 in front with 20 minutes left. And in fact, as I'm trying to wrap that up, there is a highlight. The Mali goalkeeper pumps that one deep, but Kelly Heald can control it. We try and get going here down our left-hand side through the fresh legs of Josh Pickering. Jamie Kelly looking for a double yet again, but unfortunately that one goes just over the crossbar. Still 3-1 in fact. Right off the back of that, he does drop down to a Red Hearts. Jay Herdman will come on for him with our final substitution with about 15 minutes left. And we're just about to make our way into the last 5 minutes of this game, so I think it's now time for us to play things safe. Ideally, would have grabbed an extra goal to get that 3-goal lead back, and might not need to do this. We're going to slow down the tempo, be a bit more disciplined, and start to time waste. Also, slow the pace down in terms of distribution. Already playing with a standard defensive line, so don't think we need to change that. And we'll get through the last few minutes of this game, but fair to say, we've deserved a win from it. A little bit frustrating that yet again, we can see one of the few shots that were against us, but 3-1, not a bad scoreline as long as we can hold on to it and don't bottle things. A corner there, and George McDonald tracks back to get that back for us, but then a pass forward to Beale, and he doesn't control it too well. Might be a chance there for Mali on the counter-attack, but thankfully, Lucas Kelly Heald will get that one back for us. Goes back to Paulson, and now Libby Kakache can try and get us going here down our left-hand side. Beale plays it back forward up there to sickening Josh Pickering, albeit poor pass off the back of that. Bell nearly wins that one back for us. Traore with a pass deflected, somehow forced a Tia. Now a chance for Toure, Bilal Toure this time. They make it 3-2. Both these shots on target, I think, now are goals, and off the back of that, we are just going to be a bit more sensible with our defence and also go a bit more time wasty late in this game, albeit go back to playing with a higher tempo like we usually do. Also going to regroup after we lose possession, distribute to fullbacks, and we'll see if that sort of stuff does help us. Make sure we don't blow our lead. That felt a bit harsh there. That big deflection off Traore to another Traore, and this time it was Toure who put that one away. Lots of similar names here in this Malian team, but unfortunately Alex Paulson now drops down to a 6.4, seeing as Mali have scored both their shots on target in this game. We easily could have won this one by more, but thankfully we just get the job done. Maybe got a bit tired, a bit sloppy late, some of those drinks from that trip to Australia on the way here, catching up with some of our boys, but that is a successful international window. We pick up the soccer ashes and back it up with a 3-2 win away from home over Mali. So a good international window again for us there with the All Whites, with those wins over Australia and Mali, albeit that second one did not help us at all in terms of the world rankings. Still there in 35th, which is an improvement overall, I think, from the start of the window, thanks to that win over Australia. But a bit disappointing that that win over Mali did not have an impact, but now it's time for us to switch to Cashmere Technical mode. And before we take on Auckland City, bit of a big game against Western Suburbs, that rematch from the Chatham Cup quarterfinals at the start of the week. And in what was pretty close to a must-win match early on here for Western Suburbs in the championship phase of the National League, with us in Auckland City having got off to a flyer of a start, they did not get off to one here in this game. Alex Moore from that ball in for Benitez gives us a 1-0 lead at the 3-minute mark. Then finally, we get a penalty against Western Suburbs. Lorenzo Janssen makes up for his miss in that Chatham Cup quarter-final, puts it away, and then Alex Moore at the 21-minute mark beats the Chronopolis from a tight angle. An American goalkeeper we formerly had on trial here at Cashmere Technical, and pick up a 3-0 win. Overall stats from this game actually quite even. Obviously the penalty would have helped our XG, but I do think we were a slightly better team in that game, even though it doesn't really look like it, and thankfully clinical with our chances, we pick up a win, bit of revenge there over Western Suburbs, who hopefully we might actually get to play at the GMP next season after playing them in Pororua for the 4th time this season, that is now, which is a bit ridiculous considering Charity Cup and also the Chatham Cup and the Champions League final all up there. But a win does mean just that Chatham Cup loss against them this season, which they did go on to beat Auckland City in the final. That hasn't translated over into the championship phase of the National League, because as you can see, already looking pretty odds on for a Cashmere Tech versus Auckland City final, and it will be played, of course, at Sky Stadium. So to be fair, not quite as much riding on this game as there otherwise could be, apart from who might get the home changing rooms. But currently, it is dead level between both teams, having scored 9 goals, conceded none, with the same goal differential, perfect records. Hopefully, we can put that to an end in this upcoming game, especially as it is at the GMP. Auckland City so far have brushed aside Western Suburbs in their first game 3-0. In fact, the scoreline from that Chatham Cup final was 2-1, but that's their only recent loss around that. They've been doing well in the championship phase of the National League. Also a 3-0 win over Hamilton Wanderers, 1-0 over Christchurch United, and 2-0 over the Phoenix Reserves. That's how they've got on so far. Fair to say, they've probably taken on a few tougher teams than we have, but hopefully we can put out a decent performance here, which should give us some confidence. And also, if we can even pick up a draw, that's probably not too bad for both teams, trying to make sure that we'll both be in the Champions League next season. Oh, so important, because we do want to make our way to the FIFA Club World Cup. Just one player unavailable at the moment, and that is Connor Kerwin, because he needed a rest off the back of under-23 Olympic qualifying with the young All Whites. They did win that tournament, so they are off to the Olympics, but it does mean no under-20 cover on the bench going into this game. So hopefully Christian Benitez and Alex Moore can do a decent job, but hopefully we can continue our good run here in the championship phase of the National League and stay on top with a win over Auckland City. And here are the team sheets for this top of the table clash in the National League Championship. We saw our team before briefly, full strength, and Isaac Hughes, who to be fair is probably actually a little bit better than Victor Ross. You could argue he should be starting, but that jumping reach of Victor Ross, so important from set pieces, but Hughes, with no Kerwin, makes his way onto the bench there with Auckland City, both teams in good form, but hopefully at the GMP, we can pick up a win and go sole top spot. And it hasn't taken long at all here for the first highlight of this game, only 40 seconds in, and a throw in our favour, and it is going to be Pedro Libiase there, who will take it nice ball over the top there for Christian Benitez, but unfortunately he can't hit the target. Good early chance, but still 0-0. And despite that very good start early with a big chance, now it's taken us until the 33-minute mark for our next one, a free kick, but unfortunately that was McGoldrick, I think, with a header that just goes wide. As you can see, so far Auckland City have done nothing in this game. We're going to demand more, because while we're getting some shots off, only one on target, which isn't really good enough. Alex Moore not doing too well, but of course can't take him off because no under-20 players are on the bench. 0-0. We're definitely the better team. Auckland City, as I said, have done nothing, but we can't really do too much here, I think, in terms of substitutions. The only player I'd consider taking off would be Alex Moore, but he's under 20. One of the big reasons he does start for us here at Cashmere Technical, so we'll tell the guys need to hit the target more and get stuck in to the second half. Still 0-0, as one of our former players, Jamie Fletcher, makes his way on for Auckland City. And just shy of the hour, mate, we get the first highlight here of the second half. Pretty quiet game so far, which would be typical considering I decided to show this one instead of the Western Suburbs game. Maybe should have recorded that one instead. FM might be telling me off, but now we get the ball out there to Benitez. Squeeze that one nicely for Alex Moore. Big chance for him there, but unfortunately that time it's the Auckland City goalkeeper who puts that one just wide. Moore finally hits the target. He's now on a 6.3, but as I said, unfortunately can't take him off because we are low on under 20 players. Riley Rogers there on the volley, and that shot actually, I thought he just blasted that one over the top, but apparently it took a deflection to another corner for us here. Janssen gets fouled inside the box, no penalty. Now Smith starts to go forward. We'll see if that's how the highlight ends. Unfortunately, that is the case. Still 0-0 with 25 minutes left. And just making our way into the last 20 minutes of this game, I think it is time for us here to try and get something going in terms of attack. Riley Rogers on a 6.5. Usually we'll bring on Nathan Walker. We might try bring on El Ghazali and playing Alex Moore out right, and maybe even on attack. So a couple of strikers on the field, fresh legs up front. Hopefully that helps as we go looking for a winning goal in these last 20 minutes. We definitely deserve one because stats-wise, all over Auckland City so far in this game. And a highlight here shortly off the back of that change, which hopefully will pay off that pass. A little bit ropey, but thankfully we do keep hold of it. Eventually moved out left there to Xavier Smith, albeit he is on the retreat now. McGoldrick to Texera, and Benitez makes his way forward. He tries to do something here. Squares that one nicely for Lorenzo Janssen, but unfortunately there's a block there, I think, from a defender, or it came off the goalkeeper. So we're certainly putting the pressure on, but so far our shots have not been too high XG. A corner, which they clear, unfortunately, can't quite link up there with Georgios Victoros. We'll see what happens from the rest of this highlight. Absolutely nothing. And with 10 minutes left, just over, still 0-0. And Lorenzo Janssen is on a 6.4. As I said, we can't take off either Moore or Benitez out left because of under 20 restrictions. So Nathan Walker can come on for Janssen, El Ghazali in central attacking midfield, and Alex Moore back up front. We'll try El Ghazali as a shadow striker, also chuck Xavier Smith at left back onto attack. Up our tempo just to try and get something going late in this game. Also play with a higher defensive line, try and do some of the stuff that can sometimes get us going late in these games, but unfortunately that's not been the case so far. And a few minutes later, now it is Pedro Bessi who is down to a red heart. So Cullen Elliott can come on for him. It's time for us here, go full out attack. Louis Evans can go on to support. Only 7 minutes left in this one before this game will finish. Of course, it's a league game, so no extra time. 3 minutes of added time, but 15 shots, only 3 on target. Not really good enough from our Arsenal loanee, who is a bit streaky, it's fair to say. He certainly scores lots of goals when he's in the mood, but is a bit patchy, which unfortunately might have cost us in that game complete domination. But unfortunately, despite it being 16 shots to 3, only 3 on target, and none of them did beat the goalkeeper there in Musa Pippin Kamara. Not a terrible result, because it does mean we both pick up points. Should still be on for a final against Auckland City, which might be coming up in tomorrow's episode, depending on how much I get through in between now and then. But it's not a bad result. It's certainly a game that we probably should have won, but thankfully going to keep us joint top of the championship phase of the National League. But unfortunately, it finishes as a goalless draw. So unfortunately not the most entertaining game there to finish things off on for today's episode, but hopefully might be a bit more interesting, I imagine, next time we take on Auckland City, which you'd imagine will be in the National League Championship Grand Final. Only 4 games left for us before we get to that Grand Final, and we've already taken on Auckland City, Wellington Olympic, and Western Suburbs, so taking on the teams who you'd imagine would have tested us the most and picked up points. Hopefully we're in a pretty good position to make our way through to that final, and with a 6-point gap over Olympic, albeit that could close to only 5 if the Phoenix Reserves can win on the Sunday over Christchurch United. That's still a pretty good advantage with that many games left. So I think the plan might be to come back for that National League Grand Final in tomorrow's episode and wrap up this 2031 season, so we can then go forward and try and win the Champions League, because that's going to be a big one to make our way to a FIFA Club World Cup. But that will do it for today's episode. A good one for the All Whites over Mali. Unfortunately, show you guys the wrong game there with Cashmere Technical, the goalless draw instead of the 3-0 win over Western Suburbs. But if you enjoyed today's episode, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow we'll aim to come back and finish up this season here at Cashmere Technical, hopefully with another National League trophy. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.